Does doing business as a hobby provide legal protection? Well, this question could probably be taken a couple different ways. If you have a hobby that you're calling a business, so like let's say for example, you have some horses. You love riding horses and you want to be able to deduct on your taxes all expenses related to these horses. Their feed, their shots, the veterinary bill, the other equipment and supplies that you need. Well, in a horse business, you're entitled to deduct those expenses, but in a hobby, you're not. So what's the difference between a hobby and a business? Well, the IRS says generally a business needs to make money, and it needs to do so within a few years. So if your horse business only has the speculative possibility of making money someday when you sell those horses, or maybe they'll win a race someday, or maybe you'll get paid some fees for their services, that is not going to pass the IRS test for characterizing your horse business as a business. It's going to be a hobby, and that means the expenses are not tax deductible. So one thing the IRS looks at is it actually going to make money? Now, there are a lot of horse businesses that make money, and they're very clearly businesses. But that's a common area where the IRS has a little extra scrutiny because horses are so wonderful. They understand that they're also expensive, and they understand that people would love to be able to deduct on their taxes expenses related to horses. So let's go back to the question, does doing business as a hobby provide legal protection? Well, if your hobby is legally a business under the tax code, you're going to be able to deduct those expenses. And yeah, having an LLC or a corporation is going to provide some protection for you. Now, it is actually possible to have an LLC or a corporation that is considered a hobby by the IRS, but still has limited liability as it relates to other creditors of the business. So in that scenario, whether the IRS treats it as a hobby or not, an LLC or corporation still provides limited liability. Now, there are all the exceptions that I've talked about in other videos. Piercing the veil, we talked about negligent hiring and negligent supervision, personal guarantees, etc. But as a general rule, a hobby run through an LLC or a corporation still has those limited liability protections that a standard LLC or corporation would have. If you haven't already, subscribe at aaronhall.com/free. You are welcome to check out our channel where we have all sorts of other questions from business owners and the answers provided to you. I do these videos as a public service, as a way to use my knowledge as a licensed attorney to help business owners avoid problems, spot issues to discuss with their attorneys, and improve the likelihood that you will have a successful company and successful life.